The jewel in the crown. Frequently, I get asked, HG, you are a narcissistic psychopath. Why do you do this work? There is a video that goes into detail as to why I do this. It's part of the creation of a legacy which will enable me to nullify a threat to control posed by death, as death comes for us all. Furthermore, the incorrect information that's put out there repeatedly by people who don't truly understand narcissism offends me. It threatens my need for control, and therefore part of the reason why I explain as I do about the way that my kind function and operate, the way that we see people, the way that we manipulate is done to get rid of the errors about us. As part of this extension of the legacy and the provision of accurate information, I created a video about the greatest investment you'll ever make, which details just how important it is to understand the person that you could be getting into a relationship with. That relationship could be a friendship. It might be the maintenance of a familiar one. It could be a colleague, a boss, a neighbour, and of course, frequently, a romantic relationship. Many people do not undertake the appropriate due diligence or intelligence gathering that should be undertaken with regard to such a significant investment. And they tend to rue the fact that they rushed into the relationship. They end up regretting the fact that they perhaps saw red flags but did not act upon them. And the importance of the appropriate selection of your intimate partner primary source and the avoidance of the narcissist is emphasised in this article in The Telegraph by Petronella Wyatt. She writes, "I'm not concerned about the state of the crown. It is only numbskulls who claim it is in crisis. Unlike democracy, the British monarchy, because it values tradition, avoids becoming a self-limited disease. But as the Princess of Wales recovers from being forced into disclosing her cancer diagnosis, the nation should ponder the incalculable debt this woman is owed and pause in wonder." Looking back at the troubles that have beset the royal family, the death of the late Queen, the King's own illness, the ugly web in which Prince Andrew has entangled himself, and the one-trick ponies in Monty Shitshow, we can comfort ourselves with one solid bond in the bank of our collective future. The woman who was once called plain Kate Middleton has proved to be the jewel in the crown. There have been doubters and naysayers, notably in the verdant hills of California with its 50 shades of envy. This is a tale of two women. And for the Duchess of Sussex, the popularity of Catherine is a bitter pill. Pausing there, indeed it is. Despite her attempts to piggyback the Photoshop incident, despite her attempts to capitalise upon the speculation about Catherine, the recent outpouring of support and sympathy for the Princess of Wales is something which would have infuriated this one's wife. She simply is never able to get anywhere near the level of popularity that the Princess of Wales enjoys. Not only is she unable to emulate it as a consequence of her absence of emotional empathy and her misfiring cognitive empathy, but her attempts to cut down the Princess of Wales through the utilisation of smearing and hate, either through the organ that was spare or through the idiots in the Sussex squad, have similarly failed. The article continues by explaining, did Harry and this one's wife not say that the words duty and fulfilment are an oxymoron? If so, constraint has never suited anyone so well. Royal wives are not usually presentable. Caroline of Brunswick was so lumpen that her husband George IV had her banned from her own coronation. Princess Diana was an exception, but one would argue that Catherine surpasses her, only growing in poise by virtue of no inner lack. There are only two kinds of royals in this world, the sanguine and the chronically unhappy. The latter, including this one's wife, kick and squall against their fate, seeing the golden chalice as one filled with poison, and hoping, like Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane, that it will pass from their lips. They exist in a state of Byronic unhappiness, thinking their wisdom has seen through all their supposed advantages, and in doing so has become aware there is nothing left to live for aside from selling tomato leaf soap and candles scented with woe to feminae neotandelaness. Then there are those like Catherine. This sort of royal does not see not what they can't do, but what they can, perceiving that public service is not a prison, but a means of liberation from futility. In the 13 years since her marriage, the princess has reached a state of equanimity possessed by the late queen, of whom she is increasingly reminiscent. We would do well to consider the difference Catherine has made to her husband, the future king. 2 boys walked behind the coffin of their mother, Princess Diana, in 1997. At the time, and in the years after, we often made the mistake of thinking it would be William who developed an Eeyore-ish attitude to life. On occasion, he seemed palpably uneasy in the presence of the media or performing royal engagements. For a while, Harry seemed the happy prince with all his mother's charm and people-pleasing ways. But while the country blinked, something changed. Shored and ballasted by meeting a girl called Kate Middleton, William looked duty squarely in the eye and decided not to flinch. As Harry began to drown, his older brother, with Catherine's assistance, reached the shores of home. Of all the moments in the history of our monarchy, this may prove to be one of the most significant. For in saving William, Kate might be said to have saved the crown. It is also advantageous that she is the swan of all time. Her chestnut hair seems lit by the sun's afterglow. Her complexion seems saturated by mists. It would be pernicious, however, to call her a machine-made princess, as the writer Hilary Mantel once cruelly described her. As befits a future queen, Kate has shown she has grown-up moments. But as the public has finally comprehended, she is not a figure in a stained glass window. As we have seen recently, she is human, and friends say she lives with a mischievous child inside her, which will stand her health in good stead. Catherine is William's strength and stay because she is so normal, a royal insider told me. Despite vile rumours, some emanating from America, their marriage could not be stronger. The royal family, composed as it is of human beings, can throw us some curved balls. So far in its history, the British nation has overlooked these, in the hope of getting something better in the future. The search is over. In William and Catherine, the Windsors have played a blinder. Our future king and queen, despite their current travails, have all the optimism of youth and the wisdom of experience. Moreover, they share the love that springs up when two people have seen the worst of life as well as the best, the bond that comes from camaraderie and putting others first, besides which the passion that is sometimes called by that name is as evanescent as steam. Britain and the monarchy are safe in their hands. Considerable and merited praise there for the Princess of Wales, and of course demonstrates the complete contrast that exists with this one's wife. How, as Kate Middleton, she married into a family that was unfamiliar to her. And look at her now. She did not fight against it. She embraced it. She has added to it. Her empathy has caused her to behave in a way where she recognised that she should exhibit service, that she had a duty to that family and also to the country, and she has embraced that. It has made her popular. Yes, there are those that come out with despicable rumours about her, but they are very much in the minority. But you can see the way that she has embraced her role and how it has benefited her. And then contrast that with the behaviour of this one's wife. I turn to somebody called Woodscolt, who summed up rather well my own sentiments with regard to this one's wife in a post that they placed on the subreddit Saint This One's Wife. They use her name, full name, as you know. I do not. The individual writes as follows. She was in Hollywood for years. She was a Nepo baby. She went into Hollywood with connections, and this dumb bitch never got further than 6th on the call sheet. She managed to meet and marry the royal moron. It should have been smooth sailing. Just show up, smile, wave, follow the rules, take orders, and know her place. For that, she would have had free housing, clothing allowance, jewellery to wear, free travel, security, and access to fame and wealth. Yet she failed. She couldn't hack it. She's so dogshit stupid that she pissed away a free ride. Now remember, this is a combination of her not being very bright, but the way that her narcissism was able to get her into this position, but it wasn't able to keep her there. Wood's cult continues by stating, so then she gets paid millions, and all she had to do was produce a podcast, something lots of people do in their closet. And once again, she couldn't hack it. Even with producers and staff, she's that incompetent. And even then, the plagiarised book and the Netflix Live Fest, she had such immense opportunities and she squandered every single one of them. She's dumb as fucking dirt. I honestly think she might be stupider than Harry in some ways. How in the fuck did she manage to shit the entire bed so thoroughly? Imagine going through life getting every break on your back and still managing to fuck them all up. Marrying the royal with an IQ of a post hole and failing so damn badly that you have to leave the easiest royal gig ever and you're stuck with the royal skid mark. And now you are too old and infamous to gull some other sucker into supporting you. A useful summary of the way that this one's wife has indeed fucked it up, and it is because of her narcissism. It got her into this position, but it isn't capable of keeping her in this position, so she keeps fucking up, applying control in the moment and creating collateral consequences, being ridiculed, being seen for what she is. And it provides you with a useful opportunity to see the complete difference between one woman who is praised for being the jewel in the crown and the other who wanted the crown but isn't even fit to touch it. A useful comparison of the two, and demonstrating once again that in this instance it's the narcissism of this one's wife that has failed and let her down. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.